Welcome back, guys, to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine. Today, we are welcomed with Victor
Yeah.
Iniestra. How we doing, man?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself? How you been?
Great. Yeah, excited. Like I talked to you a little bit off camera. I'm glad to have you on here. Something we've talked about for a little bit. How's the shoulder feeling?
Oh man, it's a lot better. Lot fucking better. It's a lot
Nice.
better. Yeah. It's I've been doing my rehab. It's yeah, man. I can't complain, dude. I thought it was gonna take a lot longer. Honestly, I didn't think it was gonna. I was told like 3-4 months, but like I'm like when it happened, I was like, nah, man. There's no way. There's no like this. I was like, you know what I mean? Like I had to like do this and stuff like so like. But now it's a lot better, dude. It's healing good. It's healing a lot better than I thought it would be. And there's like literally no pain. I mean, there's a couple things here and there that I do that I had to do my warm ups a lot longer now.
Okay.
When you go to the gym, you have to do your warm ups and all that. Now I actually take the time to like, okay, now I gotta really do this. If not, I'll feel it during my workout. So it's
Make sure,
coming along, man.
making sure you're getting a good stretch in before you start lifting anything.
Yeah. I got to do those band circuits that I usually do now. I don't even know what the movements are called, but I do band exercises.
Yep.
But like now I actually take the time to like, okay, I'm doing good here. Like usually I would just go through the motions. No, I can't do that no more. I had to actually take the time.
I I in one of our conversations, I've told you I tore my rotator cuff and my labrum, so I know all about the band exercises and they're tedious, but
Yeah.
definitely helps rebuild the shoulder where it needs to be. Uh, I I heard that you might be making a return here soon. Where and when can we see that?
I'm scheduled to come back at Eagle Pro Wrestling. Eagle Pro
Okay,
Wrestling, which is March 8th. So what is that, like 2-3 weeks
two
around there?
two 2 weeks.
Yeah. Eagle Pro Wrestling, man. He's cool. I met him at AAW. He's been at first when we talked, it would just be like, hey, how's it going? Like hey, a little handshake, that's it. But as time went on, I got to know him. Uh, and when he started his promotion, uh, a couple people put me on. They talked good about me, so that helped. And then we started talking, me and him, about going to his promotion. Those are like last year, I think. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it. So that's how we got to know each other even more. So that's Eagle Pro is March 8th. It's a 6 man. So that will be my first match back. What's a mixed uh two guys
Mixed
and then
mixed
mixed
tag
tag.
6 man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'll be prepared for that one. I just gotta, do my warm ups and all that stuff. I've been training too. I've been training probably now for like a good 3 weeks in the ring. I finally got back in. I was a little nervous about it, that's for sure. I was a little nervous because I was thinking, well, it's a shoulder thing. I don't want to like take a tackle or something and have it, like in my head, that's what I'm thinking. But uh, I've been okay. I've been cleared. I'm still going to a rehab or physical therapy. They're giving me good news and everything. They're telling me like, yeah, man, you're healing up. So it's no. They told me too that like you did the right decision by not getting surgery, because I got X-rayed and everything too. So yeah, man, It's about the more of that mental thing, like oh, like, I hope this doesn't hurt or just getting over that fear. No, but so far, man, I've been good. I've been good. Just do those warm ups that I'm supposed to be doing before I get in the ring or lift, and I'm good.
nice. I'm excited to see you back. Like I talked a little bit off camera. I've seen you through CSW. There's a lot of great stuff going on there. You've been to some AAW shows I've been to, so like it's it's exciting to see you back in the ring.
Yeah, man,
Um,
it's I love it, dude. It's I'm getting better, dude. I'm excited to just get back into it, man. And like, uh, every ring is different too. So you gotta one's softer, one's harder. I'm a little nervous about the harder rings, but I'm honestly it's just like a mental thing, man. I'm pretty sure I'll be good uh by then. My cardio will be up, man. I'm not all beat up.
and from the looks of it, it looks like you got a pretty good support team. You got Lily, who's always by your side, and then a lot of the fans and people contributed and really got behind you. How'd that feel while you was out and hurt for people to, try to help in whatever way they could?
Dude, it was I didn't honestly when I started getting messages from people. I got messages all over online. I got text messages from people that I didn't even think that we were like close like that. So it was cool. It was really, I don't know, man. What's the word? Flattering, or maybe it's humbling. I guess it's cool to see that. Oh, like yeah, I've had conversations with people, but the fact that you're reaching out, that means it's a little. Even just reaching out, man, that meant a lot from people that I didn't even think that we were that close. And then after this happened, now we're now I see them in person, and we're even like more. We talk a lot more now with those people that I didn't think that I was close with. Maybe it's the sport, then maybe it's the culture. I don't know, but like I'm, I consider a lot of people in this business now friends. So the fact that they reached out, that they donated, that was really cool. I felt like I didn't think that was going to be something that would happen. Um, when we put the GoFundMe together, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, by the way, you have this much money. I'm like, what? Like, what the hell? Like, okay, like I wasn't even expecting anything. I was already thinking, like, fuck, I'm gonna have to do these payments. It's gonna take me months. It's gonna take me a couple of years, maybe. I don't know, because I was already, on top of all the bills that we have. Um, so then I'm thinking, well, now I gotta add this bill. But when I saw like the people donating, man, I'm like, dude, that's such a weight off my shoulders. Because I was thinking I might have to pull more hours at work, and I'm like, fuck, how am I gonna do this? So that was really cool that people donated, and like I wasn't even in the right mind to like to go through this all like the setting up process of this and that, and uh because I was still, I don't know, I think I mentioned it online. I was all for a month. I would wake up after sleep because I was still going to work. Like I can't take off work, dude. I have to. Well, for the first week I did, right, but after that, I can't take off work. I gotta go. So I would wake up in the morning, and when you sit up off of bed, like I was dizzy. I wasn't like I would sit up, and I sit at the edge of my bed for like a good like 10, 15 seconds because I was dizzy. The room was spinning. It's like when you're drunk, it would be like the
Yeah.
room was spinning a little bit. And then finally, when it went away, I'm like, okay, good. And I'd slowly get off of bed and start getting ready. But that was for like a month straight, man. And I knew it was from the concussion because my head wasn't hurting when it happened, but like I was knocked out, so that's still considered a concussion. Um, so, but it finally went away after a month. It finally went away, and like just to think about, and I would still go to shows to see people. So to see everybody there, man, it was cool. Like they were, hey, how's it going? And they would tell me about their injuries that they had and all that. I would get videos and pictures of different angles from how it happened. So yeah, man, I'm happy that I'm here, man. It's injury free. I'm better from my injury. And a couple other things, but like, yeah, I'm thankful for people that reached out and gave me that support because that definitely did help. That definitely did help. Other even promoters reached out, people that I didn't think they're from probably farther promotions, like different states. It's cool to see how the sport is just gathers together because I've seen other people get injured and they're all like gathering together that, hey, let's donate to these people. So I really appreciate that about what pro wrestling has done.
It's crazy to see how people can come together, especially in times like that. It's a scary moment. I know I was in the arena the night it happened, and
Mm,
I've watched wrestling my whole life, and I don't
mm,
think I've ever seen somebody get injured at a
mm,
show. Like it was scary. Like everybody was quiet, nobody
mm,
was talking. So like the the room was, it's hard to explain, but like when it happened, like all the air left the room. And so
mm,
like everybody was just solely focused on if you're okay, if Quintero was okay, like
mm.
because it was a nasty bump. So it's just crazy to see like the reaction afterwards and all the love and support that came afterwards. And like I think that was one of the times that really validated, I guess, why I do this because I love wrestling, and that really just shows how much other people also not only love the sport but love the guys inside the ring. So
Yeah,
it's nice.
it is, man. I don't really I remember everything. I remember everything. The night I remember the match, everything, every single thing I remember. All I just don't remember up to the point when it happened because he came off the ladder. I remember remember seeing him, and then right when he got to like right here, my peripheral vision, it like went black. So like I see him, he comes here, and it just goes black, like kind of like in the movies how you see it like kind of go like that. It went like black, and then next thing I know, I'm waking up, like it comes back up, from the black darkness, it comes up, and I'm looking, and I see like I don't remember who I saw, like two. I saw the promoter, I saw two other faces, but it's still kind of blurry, you know? It's still kind of blurry, like kind of like shaky, like in the movies. It's kind of like that, fuzzy. And I'm thinking like, this isn't real. Like this is. I'm thinking it's a dream. I'm thinking I'm dreaming. Like, oh, okay, like I'm in my dream. And then slowly I start kind of like waking up a little more, and then people are trying to talk to me, and then I'm slowly responding, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this doesn't seem like, no, this is a dream. And then I wake up and I'm like, damn it. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, this is for real. Like that's when I started, but everything is still fuzzy. It's still fuzzy, but I know this is real now. And I'm trying to talk and I'm trying to talk in clear words, but all that's coming out is like, what's going, like it's like slowly I'm trying to get it out, but I can't. And then that's when I realized, I'm like, damn, I'm like, this is for real. And now I'm even angrier because now I know that this is a big show and I'm just pissed at myself. And then next thing I know, it just goes back dark. And then it comes back up. And next thing I know, I'm in the ambulance. Like, I don't remember leaving. I don't remember anything else. I don't remember they said I did a thumbs up. I don't remember that. I don't remember that. I don't remember getting stretched out. They said I was under the ring. I didn't remember that either. Like, I wasn't it's not like I was on the outside of the ring. It's somehow I was underneath the ring. So my head had to have smacked and then gone underneath. You know what I mean? If you can picture that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like that. And then I saw the video back on IWTV of the show. Yeah, it was quiet. I saw other angles too. People were live. So it was really quiet, man. And I'm glad that it wasn't anything crazy because we were gonna do more crazy things. So to think about that, I was talking to Lily about it. That was already crazy, but the fact that we were gonna do something even more crazier after that, I'm like, dude, like thank God, we didn't get that far because it was gonna end up worse if had we gone at that extra because we were almost done, man. It was right at that end of the match, and just shit was like going like during the match, nothing was going right. There was
Yeah, the
it looked
title
to
fell.
everything, man. There
It
was
was rough.
everything, man. There was other things we were supposed to do. It didn't go right. So it was like a sign, like, hey, man, thank God that we didn't get to like the last part because it would have ended up even worse. Um, but yeah, man, it's just who knows what would have happened, and I'm glad that it's a banged up shoulder is a banged up shoulder, So I'm glad that like it's passed, and then I'm happy to be coming back, dude. I'm just happy. I'm not gonna do something. I had to change some things up in my arsenal so that I'm not doing certain things. But I'm happy, man. It didn't end up worse. I'm so happy it didn't end up worse.
Definitely, definitely. It's I don't want to say it's a miracle, but it's a blessing. Definitely a
Mm-hmm.
blessing that things went the way they did. Um, Seeing as how this is the I Love Wrestling podcast, I'm gonna start with when did you find wrestling and when did you fall in love with wrestling?
I've been loving wrestling since 2000, I think, the year 2000.
Okay.
I started watching it there, but it wasn't even like I was looking for it. It would just happen to be on the TV. I was flipping through the channels, and I started watching it from there. Yeah, so I'm watching it, and then because my family's Mexican, so they don't. It was in English, so like at the time, I was the first generation. Like my parents, they didn't understand English at the time. Uh, so I'm watching it. I'm growing up in English and Spanish, so I'm understanding it. Started watching it, and I was catching on. And next thing you know, I'm watching it every week. And then my mom would see it with me every now and then, not all the time. Uh, but then throughout the years, I started watching it even more. And then I stopped watching it in high school. I stopped, and then because I was doing more sports, started picking it up again on 2011 when CM Punk did the pipe bomb. That was like my first
Yeah.
episode where I was changing it, and I'm like, oh, the Raw is on. And then that was literally right as Cena's going through the table. That's when I started watching it, and then cut the pipe on. And I'm like, is this real or is this fake? So then that sparked my interest again, to come back. Um, and then I was doing, college sports, but eventually around 2015 is when I started. I was trying to transition out of college sports because my passion kind of died for it. I still love football and everything, but like I was like, what's next? That's when I was on Facebook and literally it says, because I guess the algorithm picked up on it. It says, oh, this place is here it's so far away from you to go train for wrestling. Like, do you want to be a pro wrestler? That type of thing. It was an ad on Facebook, and I'm like, hell yeah! And I looked up the address, and I'm like, let me go check it out. I went to
Okay.
2 shows, fell in love with it. I'm like, I'm gonna start doing it because I was looking for that next thing, man. And next thing I know, I'm like, hey, I want to talk to the promoter. I started training there, uh, and then from there, man, I've been doing it nonstop. I don't take no breaks. I don't believe in the whole I gotta take a break from my mental health. Like I don't. I love this. Like I'm not. if I can't handle it now in the independence, what happens with life? Like when life's not going to stop, like just deal with it, man. This is the longest break I've taken so far because of my shoulder. So, but I've been nonstop, man, since. I love this. I love this shit.
That's badass. What, not what, who do you think were like your biggest inspirations or guys that you paid most attention to growing up?
I want to say Stone Cold and Eddie Guerrero. Eddie
Okay.
Guerrero because he's I mean Mexican, and I started looking more into his story and his style that I liked is pretty much the style that I like doing. So I that was one inspiration, and then the one that got me in wrestling was Stone Cold because I happened to see him on TV when I was flipping through the channels, and that's like the height of like that time of wrestling. So those two I think for me were the most of Stone Cold is what brought me in. Eddie is what kept me, and then from there I started branching off in other ones. But those two I would say 100%, 100%. I still watch some of their stuff now just to see what I could pick up and add to my stuff. So yeah, those two for sure.
Okay. You mentioned doing other sports. What other sports did you partake in high school and college and stuff like that?
I started first sport that I ever did was baseball. I did
Okay.
baseball when I was younger. I'm a White Sox fan still to this day. To this day, a White Sox fan. So that I started in 2003. So they won the World Series in 2005. So obviously I came in at the right time. So I was a huge fan of that. And then from there, once I got to high school, this was like before high school. And then once I got to high school, it was straight football. Straight football. I did a little bit of basketball, but it was just to try it out. I wasn't really good at it. I just kind of like playing it. But yeah, football all 4 years, and then I played in college. Uh, but dude, I love it. I honestly think too that it's because of sports, because of playing football. I still know my coaches to this day too. I have them on a couple of them I have on Facebook. But it's because of like the way we came up in football, man. That shit will teach you how to be a man for sure. Like how to fight for a position, how to fight for things that you want. And I've literally taken that mentality and just put it in life, whether it's in wrestling or just my personal life. So uh, I'm really thankful for playing football, man. Honestly, that's just people say like, oh, they're jocks and everything. Nah, man, there's a reason why they act like that because some of them they have an attitude, yeah, but I think just because what you're taught and especially maybe the coaches, maybe I had the right coaches. Um, the right coaches pretty much instilled like, hey, work for this shit. Like, don't complain, go for it, And if you don't get it, then okay, let's train harder. Then it's because you didn't train hard enough. So I've had that attitude. The football is what I played, and then after college, wrestling. But I also started getting into powerlifting. Powerlifting, I did it because of wrestling. Because when I first came in here, I was one of the smaller guys in the locker rooms. And I walked in. I remember I walked in a locker room my first day. I'm like, "Fuck, man! Like these guys are huge. Like they're big, man." And it was like I was literally one of the younger ones and the smaller ones. It was me and like three other guys that were probably the shortest ones and smaller ones. Everyone was huge. I'm like, dude, I got to do something, man. And I was already lifting weights, but not like to that level. So I started doing powerlifting, man, just to like make up for that or something, build my strength up. To this day, I love powerlifting. I'm not competing, obviously, right now, but I will go to competitions every now and then because you meet people, kind of like wrestling. You meet people
Yeah.
in the industry. Same thing in powerlifting. I meet people. I have some of them online. I go to some of the competitions just to go watch, just because I enjoy it. I enjoy it. So yeah, man, it's a good community. Just like the powerlifting community, wrestling community, same exact thing, man. We're all crazy. But yeah, powerlifting and football are like my top two, man. My top two. Those are I love that. I love it. It'll keep me in shape.
Do you think football really helped prepare you for this crazy world of wrestling?
Yeah, yeah. Attitude wise, I think attitude
Okay.
wise, yeah. Attitude wise,
Okay.
definitely because there's some people that you can tell that you meet people in wrestling and they're not their attitude is a little different than as to where someone that's coming from like a sports world that's as there's people that come from sports into wrestling and there's people that just started in wrestling never played sports. You can tell the difference in attitude. So they're still we all love this, but you can tell like the difference. You can tell the difference if someone has like a certain walk to them. Not disrespectful, but you can tell like, oh, like you're about this. You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's definitely helped me in this. 100% has helped me.
So like in 2021, late 2021, you made your debut for CSW.
Mhm.
how did that come about? How did you end up coming to the fold for Chicago style wrestling?
So I knew TJ Steele from there.
Okay,
Yeah, so I knew him. He would go to. I met him at a show where I first started training. Uh, he came in there for a few shows, and that's how we started talking. And he was really cool, man. No, he wasn't an asshole or nothing. We just he did his thing, and then eventually, years down the road, I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, man, how? Because I saw CSW was doing crazy things. I saw they were growing, and I'm like, hey, dude, I want to be a part of that. And then I messaged him, like, hey, who can I talk to about possibly coming in? And he's like, come through, man. I'll introduce you to so and so, and we'll go from there. I'm like, all right. And he told me the date, showed up. I went to see a show. I loved it, and then I texted him, and he's like, hey, man, it's like, come to the back here. I'll show you. And then we went, and I met Steve Baz. I met Jason Paul or Hades. I talked to them, and then it was from there, dude. Just from there, I got the invite to, hey, come and train with us, man. Come and train with us. These are the days that we train. Boom, boom, and then I started going, man. I started going, and then instantly, like I knew too. I was just gonna walk in, like nothing. I knew like what it was gonna be. So I'm like, all right, man. I'm starting from scratch again, like starting from ground zero. Even though in my head, I'm like, okay, I have the experience, and I have more experience than some of these people, but like, hey, man, that's not how it works. You gotta come in and prove yourself. So I was like, all right, I'm dead set on this. And I just started from there, man. And I'm so happy that I made the transfer to there. Everybody has been awesome, man. My name has gotten out there so much more on the independents because of CSW. What it's done for me, man. It's I didn't expect it to do this much. Like I had a vision for my career, but like it's gone so much. It's done so much more for me, and I met so many amazing people. But it starts with like CSW. It started with that. So I'll forever be grateful in this. Like, dude, even when it's like years down the line when my career is done, like I'll still be grateful for CSW. I might stop by a show. You know what I mean? Like who knows? Maybe I
yeah,
might start helping out with CSW shows later on. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, man, I'm so happy that I made the transfer over there. Training is awesome. The people are awesome. Uh, and people are messaging CSW, hey, we want to come by here. So that obviously says something about the promotion, dude. It's amazing. I love it.
definitely. It's I might get some flack for saying this because I go to all the Chicago Indies, but it's probably my favorite one.
Yeah,
CSW, I feel like is the top. Um,
yeah.
and it showed me the most love back. If
Mm-hmm.
you want me to be 100% honest. Uh, but like you make your debut in 2021 for
Mm-hmm.
CSW. 2022, you're in the ring with Carlito.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
what was that experience like working with Carlito? And did you get to learn anything from him? Talk to him about your match, anything like that?
Uh, yeah, man. I forgot. It's cool, man. Because I remember when he got first announced that he was gonna come to CSW. I'm like, holy shit, man. I'm like, that's cool. Because I was a fan of his too. I watched him,
Yes.
and I was like, oh man. I'm like, this is. I kind of said, I don't. I think I said something like, hey, who's he facing? And they're like, oh, we don't know yet. And I'm like, well, if there's a chance, like maybe something. And they're like, well, we'll see. And then it got announced. I'm like, holy shit, man, this is awesome. So I'm a fan. Like even when I met him, I was like, oh crap, this is a fan, right? Or like, I was trying to like keep cool. Uh, but I picked him up at the airport. I got to pick him up. Yeah, yeah. I volunteered. I'm like, I'll pick him up. I went to pick him up, and as I'm pulling up to O'Hare, I see like this tall dude with like the afro. Yeah, man, I'm like, oh shit, that's him. And I pulled up, and I said, hey, I'm Victor. Got in the car, we started talking. Dude, he was cool. He's really, really laid back. Like, hey, man, how's it going? Not like over the top. He was like, hey, how's it going? Like, hey, how was your flight? It was good, like that. But he wasn't an asshole or nothing. It was cool. It was
That's
really,
great.
but in my head, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is Carlito. Like, I got him in my car. This is cool. Uh, but we went to the venue, man. He was cool. We just kind of it wasn't a hard match, dude. It was really he did his thing and I did my thing, and I was just trying to like just soak up as much as I could. I asked him some questions like, "Hey, what can I do to improve?" So he gave me some feedback. I was asking about how he came up, uh, what his story, and then I told him like someone like me, what do you think like that I need to like stand out, little things like that. And it was really a natural conversation. Like he was really straightforward. Like, hey, he told me how he came up his story. and how he's what he's doing now. And then I told him my story. He kind of was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then it was really of hey man, this isn't gonna be easy. This is gonna be hard. This is everyone's trying to grind for this. But like as long as you love it, dude, like there shouldn't be a reason why you're not doing it. So man, I was still even like after the match, dude, he was more during the show and during the day, he was kind of like really like to himself. But once the match was over, man, we were all like high fiving and laughing and hanging out. And then he went in. I saw we were coming back. He comes to the back and he's like, "Hey man, here you go," and he hands me a water. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks, man." And I'm like, "Holy fuck, Carlito just gave me a water. He just handed me water. Like, it was cool." He's like, "Hey man, yeah, here you go. Here's your water." And then because he had one too, so we went and just talked about the match. But it was, I mean, that's something. That's one of those memories that you're gonna think like, "Man, I got to do this. This is awesome. Like, this is really cool that I got to do this, man, with him." And I'm forever grateful for that, dude. And I saw him too at WWE too at one time because we had I do like extra work every now and then, and I
Okay.
brought it up to him. I was like, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me." He didn't remember me, but it
No,
was no, but it is what it is. I didn't care. He still shook my hand and everything. So, but that's one of those things, man. Where and I have pictures and videos. It's cool. I'm always gonna remember that. Even when I have kids, I'm gonna be like, by the way, it's something I'll always be grateful for, dude. It's amazing.
definitely. Uh, I was introduced to CSW by Axel Rico.
Mm-hmm.
Rico was somebody that throughout 2022 you also was in a tag team with. Made an appearance even for AEW.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like, tagging with Rico? And can you tell us a little bit about that experience working with AEW?
Yeah, it's so Axel too. I met him too. The reason why he stuck out to me was because of his hair. So that's how I
Yep.
knew about him, or that's how I
That's
remember
actually
him.
why I messaged him on because I messaged him on Facebook and he
Uh,
just looked like a wrestler. And the
mm-hmm.
hair made me think Carlito. And I was like, he's got to be cool. And then I talked to him, and then he was the one who told me to show up to CSW. So like
Mm,
he was like, make sure you come. And then the next show I was there, and he's like, oh shit, you actually came. So like, yeah, Rico
mm.
is something else.
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's one of the first guys that I met too when I first came to CSW. Besides TJ, that was more like, "Hey, man, I'm Axel. Who are like, what's your name? This and that." He was really welcoming, and we did get to tag a couple times, but I feel like we just clicked. We
Mm-hmm.
kind of knew what we were. Our styles kind of similar, and we kind of know what to. We understand it, like things to do in a match and what not to do. So I think we just clicked really well. So we kind of it was easy to tag with him, and it's even easy when we face each other because we kind of know what we got to accomplish. And then when we went to AEW, um, I he sent his stuff in, and then I actually the promoter at CSW, Jason Paul, he told me, "Hey, you should really consider sending your stuff." And I had at that point I had never had anybody tell me, "Yo, like this is what you should send your stuff here and send your stuff there." Like I come from a different place before CSW. The place where I was at was more like, yeah, like it's more like maybe we'll see what happens. But like, so I didn't really understand the business, but I started learning more when I came to CSW. And the promoter Jason was like, "Hey, you got to send your stuff in. Here's why. Here's the emails." And we started picking my matches apart. And yeah, man, I got the email. The hey, come to AEW. Was we went to Florida. I show up and Axel was there. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, hey, and then so it was cool to see somebody that I already knew. We go to the show, and then that's when we saw our name on there. It says that Axel and Victor are tagging together. I'm like, oh shit, dude, we're tagging together. So and then we got to face some cool dudes, man. It was Iron Savages. We got to face them. They were really cool. Um, and just putting the match together was easy, man. We already again we knew our style, and we knew what we wanted to accomplish, but we weren't like stepping on each other's toes or nothing like that. We were like we met right in the middle, so it was a cool experience, man. At the same time that I'm getting to do this in a different state, getting paid for it, and like and it's cool. Like me and Axel kind of we knew um that's a dude. We're far away from home right now. We're here. Like, let's enjoy this. Let's have some fun, dude. Uh, but it was cool to do it with him, man. It was really nice to do it. And Axel's a cool person, man. He's a cool person. Sometimes he might rub people the wrong way, maybe just because of how he comes off, but I have the same attitude. So to me, it ain't a thing to me. I'm like, oh, I'm the same person, So it ain't a thing to me.
The following year you would go on to compete for the Metro Division Championship against Steve Boz. You'd end that 400 plus day reign of champion. How did it feel to be able to take on Boz and end that reign and be the guy that now holds that championship?
And man, that was one of the things where when it happened, I remember the match. It was really there was a lot of moving parts, man. And after it was done, we came to the back, and a lot of us were like high fiving each other and just kind of like, yo, we accomplished that. We accomplished what we wanted to do. It was a big house too, and I remember people messaging me online about it because word was getting out in Chicago about the match and or about what happened too. But like to me, it was more of for the company to trust me and they say, hey, you're this guy for this title as to where I was a couple of years ago, like a year and a half ago, I think maybe, or 2 years ago. I was nobody, and I was trying to prove myself again. I was trying to come up in the ranks. I had to start, literally, like it might sound like cliche, but I literally had to start from the ground up again. Like it's here I am, somebody with so much years of experience, and I'm coming in, and like now I have to start down here again, and it's just proving myself. And then I didn't say no, I just did it, man. I just worked hard for it. So when I got to that point, and then for them to say, "Yeah, you're the guy that's going to do this," well, fuck, like okay, awesome, man. This is I must be doing something right. Uh, it was really I was satisfying because again for what I said, but it was like okay, I'm doing the right things. I'm doing the things that I need to be doing. Other promotions are like noticing me too. This is awesome. Getting opportunities in some big companies. Let's keep grinding, man. But that title was that like that's symbolism, that's symbolic, I guess, to me in my head that like, hey, you're doing the right things, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And to this day, I still am happy and thankful that I got that opportunity and for still be doing this, man. To still be at this level. Sure, I'm a little banged up right now, but come back, dude. I wanna work hard for the next thing. You know what I mean? The next thing and just keep grinding, man. I'm not trying to stop.
Definitely. Well, part of this grind, you got to actually once again take on Steve Boz, but this time he had a tag team partner, Tommy Dreamer. What was it like being in the ring with a legend like Tommy Dreamer in a
That
hardcore match?
Yeah. That I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, because one, I'm a fan of him, but two, like it was a hardcore match. I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, oh man, this is a hardcore match. Okay, cool. With somebody like, if it was anybody regular, it'd be fine. But just the fact that it was Tommy, I'm like, oh man, is he gonna like kill me or something, or is he gonna?
That's a bucket list item for sure.
Oh man, it definitely is. It's like the whole Carlito thing again. It was like, whoa, I remember like growing up and watching you, man, and now I'm in the ring with you. This is crazy. But like you see those matches on TV, and I'm like, oh damn, and is he gonna kill me too? Like I don't know. So I was a little nervous, but like at the same time, I'm like, I'll do it. Like screw it. Like when am I ever gonna be in the ring with him again? So, uh, luckily it wasn't anything crazy. He was really professional, man. He was nice. He's a nice dude, man. Really nice. And like he took care of me. He took care of me and everybody else in there. So like he laid his stuff in, but like it was in good places where I'm not gonna end up like dead or hurt. Uh, and after the match, where we came to the back, I got some critique from him. I was asking him too, what can I do to to be better? What did he see that I need to work on? So he gave me some critique, and but afterwards, man, it was just it's like I was done, and then I kind of just sat there and I'm like, damn, when the hell did I get here? Like this is cool. This is cool. Like I am here, and this is when was I gonna get the opportunity to share locker rooms with certain people like this? That's Tommy fucking Dreamer. So it's cool, man, and hopefully I get an opportunity to do that with him again or something, because I'm a fan of his too, man. It's you never know who the hell you're gonna meet in this business, man. It's crazy.
What's it like for you being a wrestler and in the locker rooms with people like you said that you've grown up with, like Carlito or Tommy Dreamer, or even at the last show, Rhino was there. Like, what's it like trying to hold it together and just be like, try to be professional when you have these guys in front of you?
Uh, dude, I think I mentioned this to some of my friends the other day too. It's because they asked me kind of the same thing. Um, man, it's one of those things where like I have to really be patient. So like I go to a locker room, right, and I sit down, and I know so and so is going to be there. Sometimes I don't even know they're going to be there. Sometimes it's just like a surprise for the fans. honestly, it's a surprise to us too. I don't care what anybody says in the locker room. They're gonna be like, oh, like you're just a mark or whatever, bro. Like we're fans at the end of the day. We love this shit, and we're fans of these people that are coming in. Like we watched these people as we were growing up that they made us fans, and now they're walking in to a locker room that I'm sharing them. You know what I mean? Like I'm here and like, dude, I watched this so and so to come in, or I watched so and so when I was growing up, and now they're right next to me and shaking my hand. Like, holy fuck! Like, when the hell is this gonna happen? So like, you have to keep it together. Like, I'll be like, hey man, how's it going? Cool. Hey, so I'm Victor. Oh, I'm so and so. Cool, cool. Sit there, and then once they walk away, I'm like, holy fuck! Did you see who that was? Like, holy shit! Like, this is awesome. Like, dude, he just shook my hand. Like, and then I'm like, oh, how do I ask for a picture later? I can't, but at the same time, you don't want to bother them. I'm sure they're probably tired from a flight, so I just kind of wait till the end of the show. Like, hey, by the way, can I have a picture? But at the same time, dude, I have to kind of take a step back, and then there's not a lot of people I think that kind of like go for their dreams or kind of like chase what they want. It kind of just stays like as a dream. But for me, I'm literally living my dream right now. I've always had this idea of being a pro wrestler, but now I actually get to do it. And there's other things that I want to do in life too, obviously. But like this was one of like everyone has a dream of doing something big or being somebody. And like now I'm like, wow, man, this is when the hell was I gonna what again, when did I get here? When the hell was I gonna be shaking so and so's hand? When was I gonna have a conversation with this person? This person made me a fan of them. It's like your favorite rock star, your favorite artist. You get to meet him or something, and then or somebody that you admire. Like, dude, I started doing this because of you. I started, I don't know, doing whatever so and so in my life because of you, and like I started being an author because I read your book. I don't know something. That's literally me now. Every time I go to a show, man, it's I get to see so and so, and I'm like, wow, this is this is something that I never would have imagined. Um, but I get to fucking do. I get to do, man. And then one day I'm back to my 9 to 5. So it is what it is. But uh, I'm doing, and I talk to some of my friends too sometimes where I'm like, hey, man, we just catch up with some of my friends, and then a lot of them too aren't really happy. It's sad to say, so a lot of people are depressed and like they're going through things in life, and they're wishing for something better. And then I'm here like, fuck, man, like well, that's not, I don't want to say like I'm glad that's not
Yeah,
me, but at the same time, like, sure, I have my hard things or my things that I'm going through, but like, dude, like I'm getting to live my life right now. Like, this is awesome. Like, I'm doing what I love. So like, I think that's what saved me a lot from my some of my friends that aren't going through this, like, are depressed and everything. Some of them too. It sucks to say. Some of them are like they're on the verge of like suicidal stuff, and we try to be there for them at the same time. But I'm like, dude, like I try to be there for them, but like now I'm like, well, if it wasn't for wrestling, who knows? Like who knows where I would be? If it wasn't for this type of thing, if it wasn't for powerlifting, if it wasn't for all these things that people that I surround myself with, like who knows where my life would be? But I'm so happy and blessed that I'm doing this because it's kept me out of trouble, man. 100%, it's kept me out of trouble. It's kept me out of a bunch of shit. So I am. It's humbling, and I'm blessed to be in this thing. Honestly, 100%, I'm blessed to be in pro wrestling.
I can, excuse me, 100% agree. Wrestling is definitely
Mm-hmm.
one of those things, even in my life, that I've been in some trouble, and
Mm-hmm.
in like the last recent years, it's definitely kept me out of a lot of trouble. And then like doing this podcast is crazy because like I've got to talk to guys that like I watched growing up, like Sabu or
Mm-hmm.
EC3 or Marty Skrull or Chris Masters. So like it's just insane. So like I can only imagine what it's like to be in the locker room and to hold it together and talk to these guys and then get in the ring and
Mm-hmm.
do it with it. I can only imagine.
It is,
uh,
man. It's like you got to take a step back and just be like, "Oh shit!" Like, all right, relax, relax,
but
without fainting.
you had like, fortunately, with like the podcast, the way I do it is like I get on and I talk to you guys beforehand. Like that's been able to give me that room to let the guy on the other end be like, "Hey, I'm a fan of yours. I've watched your stuff." Kind of, for lack of better words, mark out for a second, let them know, "Hey, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
get this out so it doesn't show later." And so far, a lot of the guys appreciate that. They're like, "Thank you. Like, I appreciate it." It hasn't rubbed nobody the wrong way yet, so we'll have to see what happens.
No, but
uh,
I'm up for it.
One of my favorite matches of yours, and honestly, it's kind of insane, was yourself versus Quintero versus Samurai Del Sol, formerly known as Kalisto. What was it
Mm-hmm.
like mixing it up with, a former WWE star and now one of your biggest rivals?
It Man, I remember watching Kalisto on TV because my mom would watch it with me too. It was like 2016, 2017 around there. We were watching, and then my mom was always a fan of Mexican wrestlers, and she would ask too, like, "Oh, when is he coming on TV?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. Like, he'll come on TV soon." And we're watching, and she was a fan of his too, watching his stuff. Um, and then like, so when I found out that he was released, I'm like, it sucks, but at the same time, I'm like, well, what if he comes in on the Independence? What if he's here? And then when I heard that he was coming to CSW, I'm like, oh shit, like who's facing him? Like this is awesome. And then I found out that me and Rafa were facing him. I'm like, dude, this is pretty. Like again, when was this gonna happen? Come to find out that years ago, I guess CSW or Kalisto trained with CSW. It was one of the
Yep.
main places that he trained with him. I didn't know that. So then I started asking around Steve Boz, and he's like, yeah, man. And he started giving me the rundown on how he got there. And so I got to ask him, or I was asking Steve about him. Started telling me how he came up and blah blah blah. The day of the show comes, and in comes Kalisto, and I'm like, holy fuck! I'm like, that's it. I'm like, holy shit! And he came in with a mask because obviously he's walking in from the outside, and I'm like, I want to know what he looks like. So he did his stuff. He sold his merch, came to the back, took his mask off, and I'm like, holy crap! I'm like, this is what he looks like. It's so every now and then I'll see a masked luchador, and I'm like, what do they look like? And then they take off their mask, and I'm like, oh, so that's what you look like. Oh, this is cool. Um, but we started talking, man, and he's really cool. He Mexican again. We started just talking about like how we grew up because Mexicans have a certain way of growing up and everything, and it's cool that we have the same similarities. So when we started putting the match together, man, again, I feel like we were all on the same page. All of us are on the same page, and we were just trying to have a good match, dude. And we got done with the match as we were in there, and I'm like, wow, I'm like, same thing, man. I'm like, as I'm walking into the ring, and me and him are about to do our spot. I'm like, here it comes. I'm like, oh shit, I'm doing a spot with Kalisto, and I'm like in the moment, and I'm like thinking at the same time, like, this is pretty cool. And then he's chopping me up and he's kicking me, and I'm like, this is awesome, and. So it's we did what we did. We came to the back. We talked about the match, what we liked and what we didn't like, and just critiquing ourselves. And then we started talking, man. We started shooting the shit. Steve Boss came in. They were telling me more about like the story, like how they came up. Um, and man, like it's cool, man. Like it's just he wasn't rude or nothing, man. It was cool that he was asking me about myself too and all that. And he kind of had the same path that I did when we first started. He came through where I started training first at one point, and then I started asking him how he came up, and we just had a lot of similarities, man. Our roads like crossed at the same time. The same we went through the same roads, I guess, in a way. Uh, but like he reached out to me too when I got hurt. He reached out to me.
That's
That
amazing.
was Yeah, it was cool, man. And he came, I think, too to Galley Wrestling. I want to say maybe 6 months ago, and I got to train with him again. I got to train with him. Me and Lily went to go train with him, and we were talking like, "Hey, how's it been? How's it going?" And then afterwards, we went to go eat. We went to go eat at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and he came through. And we got to know each other even more. So I consider him maybe a friend, yeah, or acquaintance or a friend, however you want to
Like a
describe it.
distant friend?
Yeah, yeah. Now, I don't want to say
Okay.
friends because we don't really talk like that, but whenever we see each other, man, we're like, hey man, how's it going? How you
Yeah.
been? Ask me
Instantly
about
clicks.
him. Instantly, man, instantly. He's one of those guys too where I'm like, dude, when the hell was I gonna when was I gonna do this? When was I gonna talk to him? When were we gonna be cool like that? Because he's from Chicago. I
Yep.
think he lives in Florida. I don't know. He doesn't live here anymore, but he still comes and visits his family. So it was again, when was I gonna do this? When was I gonna be with these people? Um, I'm a fan, dude. I'm a fan at the end of the day. I'm a fan of his.
You know, do you think you guys will ever get the chance to do a singles? Just you and him?
I think so. I
You
think
think
so.
so?
Yeah. I'm not sure where, uh, but I think so. I
Okay.
don't. I don't. It's one of the things where you just feel it. I think I feel that there's going to be something happening soon. I don't know where.
Okay.
Um, I would fucking love it. I would love it. Hell
But
yeah, I
it's something
would.
you want.
Hell yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
100% I will. Hell yeah.
Okay. We'll call it out now. Boz, book it.
Book it. Book it right
Book
now.
it, Boz.
Book it, bud. You have no choice.
Uh, last year you got to for on a couple occasions wrestle for NWA Chicago. Um, what were those shows like? Being able to wrestle under like the NWA umbrella, and could we see you back in the NWA in 2025?
It was really cool, dude. It was another opportunity, another
Yeah,
opportunity where I got to be another big promotion. It's run a little different. Every company's run a little different.
mhm.
I got to see some cool people back there that I didn't think I was going to see before. I think Bubba was at one of them. Bubba Ray, he was there. He showed up for a show.
That's cool.
Uh, some of the rockers, they were there. I forgot what else I saw. But I got there and I was looking around. Just I like to kind of like sit back somewhere and just kind of like sit and against the wall and just look around. Like this is pretty. This is awesome. This is dope. And it's run a little different as the style. The style of wrestling is a little different. So nothing that I'm not used to. So it was cool to see how it's run. It was cool to talking to certain wrestlers, getting their feedback. Hey, where did you come from? How did you get here? I like the experience. I think it was in Highland Park. Yeah, Highland Park.
Yep.
It was over there, and um, man, it's another humbling experience. Another humbling experience would be that I could say like, wow, I went to this promotion. This is cool. This is really it's. I like keeping these pictures and everything too. So years down the line, when I show my kids, I'm like, hey man, I got to do this and that. Not that they'll probably care, but like, hey, this is awesome. Um, but it's as far as coming back, I think so. Maybe I don't know. I haven't really talked to them like that because they're I don't really know their schedule. Uh, but if they do, if there's an opportunity, I'll definitely go back 100%. I'll go back for sure. I'm not gonna say no to an opportunity. So if there's an opportunity to go back, I'll definitely do it. I talked to some of them too online, but if there's an opportunity, I will 100% do it. Hell yeah.
Okay. What do you think, upon your return we can expect from you this year? Like what's the goals for yourself?
I one number one goal is everybody's is to be signed somewhere, be signed to a major company. That's my number one goal. I'd be lying to you if I said that wasn't my goal. That's my goal to be signed to a promotion, and at the same time, just grow my name, man. I want to long term, like I would want to make a living off of this. There's other things too that I want to do. Like I want to get into like tech, right, for like my real job. I want to get into that. I'm working into doing that, hopefully. But if maybe, who knows? Maybe I get signed somewhere and I'm doing tech. That's who knows. Uh, but like that's my long term goal, being signed and just getting my name out there. And the biggest one too, besides money, I think that I would like to be respected by everybody that's in wrestling. If they hear my name, hey, do you know Victor Iniestra? Oh yeah, yeah, he's a cool guy. Like that's my goal. That's one of my big goals aside from money. That's my goal, to be just respected by people, that they could say something nice about me. Like, hey, yeah, he's cool, man, or have a good story to say about me, or yeah, bring him in. He's awesome, man. And then I could just show up somewhere and then handshakes, hey, hang out, watch the show, because I would have that respect, So respect and just have good things to say, have good things said about me. I think that's my major goal. And then maybe if I can give back to this dude, like years down the line when I'm done, if I can give back to it somehow, because it's given me so much, I would love to do that. I would absolutely love to do that. Um, if I can support a family off of it, that's even better too. But I would like to be in the sport for years to come, even when I'm retired. Even when I'm retired and done with it, if I can get back to this somehow, I would love it. That's because I'm living my dream right now, man. I'm living my dream, and if I can do that even more later on and be able to support a family off of it, that's my dream, man. I'm living my damn dream.
Amazing. You know, I think just personally speaking, if a lot more guys would treat it how you treat it, where it's let me go look for this respect, and then the other things will probably come later, or they'll fall into place. Um, the business and the world probably as a whole would be a lot better if
Mm-hmm.
we just all went with that same mentality instead of I get like it can be a dog eat kind of world, like you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but respect goes a long way, and to have that still fundamentally like as your foundation is great, like, and it's you don't see that a lot no more. I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, man. It should be that way, man. Sometimes it's not. Obviously, it's like we're living in the real world. I get it. But if I'm able to go to sleep at night knowing that I didn't screw somebody over or something, then that'll give me so much more peace, man. And I think that'll go a long way for sure. Sure, there's times where you just gotta, yo, man, like what, you gotta, uh, not so much fight, but like I guess you have to put your foot down there. You have to put your foot down in
Yeah,
certain situations. That's life, whatever. But yeah, man, if I could just get that respect, I think, and like give it back and earn it, and however it is, I'll be more than satisfied after once this is done. More than satisfied.
definitely. My last question, I'm just gonna throw a fun one out there. If you could pick one guy, dead or alive, to mix it up in the ring with, who would that be?
You're gonna make me think. Um, can I say two? Maybe.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Triple
Uh,
threat.
oh man, that's even. Oh, now Eddie Guerrero. That's one because I want
Okay.
to pick his brain. I want to ask questions after. I want to ask, what am I doing wrong? How can I improve? And just ask questions for like an hour. That's one. And then the other, man, I want to say, oh my God, man. Can I say three? Three
Yeah, go
people,
ahead.
maybe?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Eddie, Stone Cold, obviously a fan. Stone Cold.
Okay.
Asking maybe business wise. And then a third one, um, Kurt Angle. I think Kurt Angle. Kurt
That'd be
Angle,
good.
just
That'd be
Kurt
good.
Angle, same reason because I've studied his matches for so long. And he comes from that background of being an Olympian. And again,
I
what
think
can I
your
do better?
styles would clash.
Hell yeah. That's why I study those two guys. Those two, Eddie and Kurt, I study the hell out of those guys. Austin too, but more of these guys, I study them. So those two for sure. Those three. Those three.
Okay. My last question. Um, the last two times you and Quintero have fought for that Metro Division championship, your 2 out of 3 falls match ended in like messed up circumstances. It was a draw and 2 out of 3 falls. It doesn't happen. And then obviously your TLC match didn't end as planned. What can we expect out of the next go around?
I think more physicality. I think, yeah. More
Okay.
physicality for sure. And I think that one will be this is where it's done, man. Right here.
Okay. This
This
is
is where
it.
it's ending. This is it right here. And it's gonna be physical. I think that's what it'll be.
Okay. I can't wait. I'll be there in person, live, living color. Can't wait to see it.
Like, hell yeah, you better be. Everybody else better be there.
Before we go, are there any social medias or anything you want to plug just to let these guys know where they can catch at?
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, it's all the same. It's at El Mero Inestra. So EL Mero Mero and my last name Inestra.
Okay. I'll make sure to throw those in the links. Thank you. Throw those in the description, links in
Mm-hmm.
the description. You know what I meant. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited that you got on here. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see what you got for us in the ring coming up.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it for having me, man. Let's do this again.
Of course, we'll have to just set up a date. We'll come do it again. I feel like there's a lot of meat on the bone, a lot of stuff we could talk about.
Mm. Hell yeah, absolutely. I'm down.
Sounds good. I will leave this at see you later then, Victor.
I'll see you later, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course.